For a long time, me and Michael have been big fans of MMOs. I think when we first started playing them, we were open to the possibility of being able to play with people all around the world and still be able to enjoy it as a game. It was like combining social networks and gaming at the same time. I thought, as a base concept, that was incredibly cool. And I think it's fair to say that for both of us, World of Warcraft is our favourite one.
Yeah.
However, in this video, rather than talking about WoW, we're going to be talking about what some might consider to be the failed MMOs. Now, there's two I want to talk about here. One is Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Yeah.
And the other is RuneScape, which a lot of people have heard about. Maybe you used to play it, maybe you played it more recently, maybe you still play it. But I think we have a few things to say about RuneScape.
Yeah, okay.
And we'll move on to Star Wars towards the end. So, Michael, you remember RuneScape?
Oh,
back in the day?
Yeah, I've got a question for you. How long do you spend cutting down trees?
Oh, I don't know. I just kind of lost track of time.
Yeah.
It was.
I think I wasted a lot of my life,
You know the worst. You know the worst thing about that. I don't know if you remember this, but you couldn't even really page you off because if you went inactive,
a tree might attack you.
A tree might attack you, or the game would just close because you were being inactive.
Oh yeah.
So, effectively, you were playing a game, maybe even paying, if you remember, to just hack down trees for ages. Now, at the time, we loved MMOs so much, the concept of it, that we were willing to do this.
We were amazed by this.
Because it was totally new to us. I think we were playing Lego Star Wars when we were introduced to it. A great game, but this was totally different. We only had a PlayStation 2. We didn't even have an online console at the time. So this idea of playing with people around the world was just so new. So although the game was massively flawed, we were willing to overlook that. Now, I think it's fair to say the game had its fair share of angry people in it. Did you have any encounters that you remember that were particularly bad?
Well, I think probably if you've got Google up and you listen to this, I'd recommend typing in the old model of Jad, the strongest boss in the game. I'll just recommend that because it was a big red teddy bear.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, that's the seriousness of RuneScape.
That was it. Honestly, it must have been 2006 or something, and one of the best enemies in a online game was a big red teddy bear called Jad.
Yeah, so on one hand, in World of Warcraft, you've got Ragnaros to find with a massive elemental swirling, huge, the end of an enormous raid, an epic takedown, and then RuneScape, you had a teddy bear.
And in the wilderness, I remember there was some giant brain just floating around.
A giant brain. Do you think the developer shot himself and it kind of floated around?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably. I think. There's no other logical explanation, so that's what we're gonna go for there. Yeah. It was weird, but I think the thing about RuneScape that stands out to me most is not the game itself, the mechanics of it, but it's actually the people in it. Now, because RuneScape had a lot of tedium in it, it just meant people would just hang about a lot and just talk. They would just discuss with you. And what I found is that people were immensely angry about the strangest things. So, for example, this one guy drops his cake on the floor. He's just baked it. I assume he doesn't want it anymore. He's emptying his inventory. I pick it up. I want the cake. It's fair to say, I was a noob. I wanted to eat cake. This guy flips out at me, starts swearing at me, saying my mother should die, all these bad things. And he says, give me back my goddamn cake. So naturally, I eat it in front of him. And he proceeds to say, I've reported you for eating a cake.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy all the things that happened in that game.
Maybe it's because we were kind of young back then. I think everyone who a lot of people who played RuneScape at the time we did were fairly young.
Look, a big
demographic of that game is young.
We were young. I mean, I think, let's be honest, the very fact that it's a free game attracts younger audience because, there was a membership that was also very cheap. But, yeah, when you have a free game, like something like League of Legends, for example, as well, you're naturally going to attract people who have no money of their own, no income, and they are young people. Yeah. And as a result, RuneScape was filled with angry teenagers, angry young kids.
I don't think I was completely mature either.
No. Let's not be too hasty because we were young at the time.
Exactly.
We did our fair share of bad things, like the time when I hacked a friend's account and I dropped all. I'm not proud of this now, but what I did was this friend who I found a little annoying. I hacked his account, and I say hacked. I basically tricked him into divulging his password, so which I feel absolutely awful about now. Like saying it sounds terrible, but I went onto his account. I dropped all his stuff on the floor, and I went to the shop and bought a pink dress and left his account like that. I mean,
we even funded this. We actually like dropped a bit of money so he could pick it up and buy the dress.
Yeah, oh God, yeah, I remember that. I don't feel happy about that now, but I will appreciate it in retrospect as being quite funny.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would never do that to even, I think, an enemy anymore. Like I saw that World of Warcraft. Interesting thing, a little tangent. There was this hacker on Guild Wars 2, right? A game I don't play anymore, but I used to. And because he was a hacker, the developers actually made a video of him having all his clothes taken off. They dropped off a bridge, and then they deleted his account. I think that was brilliant. I think it's great when these games have ways of dealing with cheaters.
Yeah.
Similar thing with Titanfall. I know it's for FPS, but they made it so if you were using an aimbot, you were thrown into matches, but only with other people who used aimbot. So it was just a massive aimbot match. Everyone's shooting each other. That was quite funny, but that's a tangent there. But yeah, back to RuneScape. We had a few real life friends. I think they got us into it, didn't they? Yeah. There was a lot of status about who was wearing the best armor.
But the thing is, say if your friend was dying, getting attacked by a monster, you couldn't do anything. You'd have to watch them die.
Yeah, you'd have to watch them die.
You couldn't get involved.
And they would blame you inevitably, even though you had no way of saving them. Did that happen to you much, where a friend had perished in front of you?
Yeah, I had to watch them just literally die. I mean, I remember one time I was able to shut a door to stop the monster from chasing them.
Well, that's something. Did the monster open the door afterwards?
No, it didn't.
Did it knock at least? Was it a polite monster?
It might have knocked, yeah.
Might have knocked, but we didn't let it in after knocking.
No.
But something we haven't mentioned yet. I don't know if this has changed since we've played it. I mean, as I say, long time since we played it. But the wilderness. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
That was a classic. Well, essentially this was. In the regular RuneScape world, you couldn't attack other players, could you? You couldn't strike. I don't think there was even a dueling system, I believe, when we were playing.
And just to be fair, we're talking about 2006.
Yeah, a long time ago.
We're not really sure how it's going now.
Yeah, we're just reminiscing here. But there was the wilderness, and this essentially was a northern part of the map where you could attack other players correctly, yeah. And the whole job was that people would lure noobs in there and finish them off. Funnily enough, noobs, of course, being the people who have the least stuff. But that was the thing about RuneScape. People weren't doing it to get the noobs' gear. They were doing it because they were just being...
For the sake of pooning people.
Yeah, just for the attacking. Because that was
the specific word, pooning. You would poon them.
Specifically.
P-W-N.
You weren't killed, you were pooned. If you said killed, you were asked to leave. Yeah, it's okay. So, and the thing about... Look, in so many communities in any kind of thing, you have negative people. There's always, you get negative YouTube comments, you get negative posts on forums for games. League of Legends has some bad people, but the thing about RuneScape it wasn't just there were some negative people. There was a culture of being an asshole. Let's be perfectly honest.
The average person would be a troll.
Yeah. You would expect it. It was either that or they were creepily nice.
Yeah.
But I went into a room. I was looking for something in one of the inns. This guy came in the room, shut the door, looked at me and said, "Do you want to be my friend?" and I made the massive mistake of replying yes. and then he said a few things that I was a little afraid of, so I was actually too afraid to cross the room and open the door, so I logged out.
Well, you never know. That might have been some person trying to lead you to the wilderness.
Yeah. Which is,
trying to poon you.
Yeah, so he was trying to poon me. Don't go, you're trying to be my friend, he was trying to poon me. Yeah, so, but luckily I avoided him because I thought he was some kind of pest. But yeah, so that's the thing. People obviously either they would ignore you. That's obviously something that happens in MMOs all the time. Or they were creepily nice. Or they were just obviously the most angry people in the world.
I think I'd get called a noob about at least 10 times a day on RuneScape.
And this is
especially in Castle Wars.
Castle Wars. I remember that. But there was this when I came back to the game after playing World of Warcraft, but we're speaking like a year in, so still ages ago. I came back to it just to see how things were, and I went back into one of the main cities, like Varrock, something like that. There was an inn, and there was a beggar, and I decided to take on my first enemy, a beggar, right? And anyone who's played RuneScape, especially as a new player, the combat system is limited. It's fair to say. And I was just punching this beggar. I was the correct level, but I was just punching him and getting no damage. So I spent about 15 minutes punching him. And then after 50 minutes punching him, this guy comes in and starts mocking me like, oh, you can't even kill a beggar. I was like, I can't do anything. The combat system's too basic. I've clicked on him. That's all I can do.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll kick him. I'll punch him. No, I'm just hitting zeros and zeros. He was look. He was not out of my level. He wasn't hurting me. I wasn't hurting him. I couldn't log out because I was attacking him. So I was just, and his crowd of people came around me just saying, oh, he can't kill a beggar. I can't do anything about him. I can't do anything.
I think basically the RuneScape community is just a hilarious mix of trolls and noobs.
That's the thing. I mean, I almost missed them. In World of Warcraft, you don't just go up to someone and start insulting them. In RuneScape, it was common place. You were expected to do it. You know, noob was the first thing we learned about the game, wasn't it? I think when someone introduced us to games, like, oh, by the way, noob means a new player and it's an insult. Oh. That's the first thing we learnt about the game. So that's the kind of community it was. We have fond memories of it now, but I mean, I'm not going to go back to it because I don't know how the community's changed. It was basic at the time, let alone now. But yeah, that's just us reminiscing about RuneScape. And I'm going to very quickly, because I mentioned it at the beginning, remember Star Wars The Old Republic?
Oh, yeah.
We'll quickly go on to that. That wasn't very good, was it?
No, I mean, I don't know. I just got bored of it. I don't have a huge amount to say. I just got bored of it, really.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry we haven't lived up. Well, okay, technically this was basically the RuneScape video.
This was an attack of RuneScape.
Yeah, sorry. The Old Republic was just that was just meh. We were basically just reminiscing.
This is revenge for all the times we got called noob and all the times wasted cutting down trees and burying bones.
Oh
basically.
God, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh. I remember I thought a flying carpet was the pinnacle of gaming back then, from the desert. But yeah, that's we were even members, weren't we? We were even members for a brief period. But
that's
it was
the saddest part.
Yeah, we were actually. So this is the thing. We were into it. We're just kind of mocking it in retrospect. Okay, so this was the RuneScape reminiscing video from me and Michael. As always, people, thanks very much for watching and see you next time.